Hi guys, in this video I'm going to cover a chord shape that I've just learned or figured out. Might help some of you. I very recently was trying to play E flat or D sharp, whichever way you want to look at it, whatever key you're in. And I was looking online at a few videos on YouTube and I couldn't really find one that was very useful for me. So I had to figure it out myself. And I thought I would show you the shape for an E flat that I am going to be using from now on, or for the song I'm currently working on. So yeah, I'll just zoom in on the fretboard so you can see what I'm doing. Hang on. Okay, so when I was looking it up, the first E flat shape you can make is an E major shape on the 11th fret as a bar chord. So 11, 13, 13, 12. Which sounds pretty good, and I would normally just go for that, but in the current song I'm working on with my girlfriend, we have the capo on fret 4, I think it is, which means if you wanted to play that in the right key, you then have to go up 4 frets, which is very smushed up, I suppose would be the technical term. You can still play it, but it doesn't sound great and it's difficult to make that shape. Your fingers are very tight together. So the other option I found was to play an A major shaped bar chord. But this also has its own problems. So if you want to play the A major shape, that's your root chord, your root note of the E bar chord, the same note on the A string, is there, fret 6. So if you want to play an A bar chord, you have to do this weird shape where you kind of pull down 6 on the A string and then kind of bar the next 3 strings with one finger, and you have to kind of crook the knuckle out like that, and then mute this string and try to mute the low E string with the tip of your index, so you get this sound, which, you know, sounds pretty good, and you can then transpose that up 4 frets to play it in the new key with the capo. But again, it is quite difficult to play. Switching from a normal open chord shape like an F and then trying to go up to that is just too difficult for me. And then there are other options. You can play a D shape and then slide it up 1 fret, but then you can only really play 3 strings, which, you know, if you know anything about chord construction, you only need 3 notes to make a major chord, but it's going to sound very tinny compared to like a full G. It's missing all of the low notes, so it just doesn't sound right placed next to an open chord. So as a compromise, I went back to the A shape. As I said, you would start on the root note here, which is E flat obviously. Then you go to the A shape of the bar chord, where if you were to use your fingers, this is also another way of doing it, which is very difficult. So you have your root, 5th, and I forget what this is. Right, so you have, which sounds grand, but again, this is a difficult shape to play. But I found if I simply drop this finger here, which is playing the G string, and instead just play these notes, that is an A major chord. And the handy thing about this is you don't even have to mute this string, because that is a G, which is actually in E flat. it happens to be the lower octave of the highest note you're playing. So this shape here, index finger, ring finger, pinky, on strings 5, 4, and 2. And then all you really have to do is try and mute the high and the low E strings, which is handy enough because you can just rest your middle finger on the low E string and just kind of, as you're fretting the B string, just have the meat of your pinky finger resting on the high E. So then you get this chord. Which is a lot easier to play than this weird fretted one. And it has a cool kind of sound. It's a little bit different to a normal open chord. I think mainly because it includes the octave there. And it's not an octave of the root. So if you're going from an F, it's a little bit difficult because I'm just figuring out the fingering of it. So yeah, it just makes it that little bit easier to play a song with an E flat in it. Instead of messing around with difficult chord shapes or chord shapes that are extremely high up on the neck, you can just go here, which is still relatively high up on the neck, but it's not as ridiculous. So it still requires a good bit of practice, but I imagine it will take considerably less practice than trying to play those awkward shapes. So thanks for watching. I'll try and put up a diagram of a tab of that chord for you to make it a bit clearer in case my finger positions aren't very clear on the camera, which is quite possible. I must try and figure out a better setup for illustrating this kind of thing. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe.